What is going on, Narcolepsy Click? You already know what it is, your boy Malik, aka Narcolepsy Boy, back here again doing another tier list for you guys. It's been a while since I've done a tier list on my YouTube channel. Haven't been consistent as I want to be, man. You know, sometimes life gets in the way and, you get busy doing other things, man. So I apologize, but we're doing WWE Money in the Bank tier list today for you guys, man. Money in the Bank cash-ins. I'm thinking that I want to do another tier list soon as well, but I don't know exactly which one I want to do yet, so I want to take ideas from you all. So feel free to interact, leave your comments in the comment section below about any tier list ideas you want me to do. But with that being said, let's get into it. Money in the Bank tier list, let's go. As you all can see, the categories always remain the same: elite, great, good, average, and terrible. And we're starting off with the first ever Money in the Bank cash-in by Edge. This definitely is elite, man. Still, to me, the greatest Money in the Bank cash-in of all time. Mainly because of how everything went down. So, before Edge had cashed in Money in the Bank, really didn't know how Money in the Bank could be used because it hadn't been used yet. And, John Cena is my favorite wrestler of all time. And my hatred for Edge was already rising around this time. I didn't like Edge at this time because I was a kid, And after John Cena won that chamber match and he went through a battle, and Vince McMahon came out and said there's one more match, and then Edge comes out and hands the briefcase to Vince, and then Edge stole the title from Cena, bro. That right there is what made me really hate Edge, like to an all-time high, bro. Like, he stole the title from my boy Cena, bro. That cash-in, bro, had shock value. It just had everything to it. It just had everything to it, man, that you look for a Money in the Bank cash-in to have. And to me, I still think it's the greatest Money in the Bank cash-in of all time, just because of how everything went down and just the aura behind it, bro. Edge that night truly became the ultimate opportunist, man, and that solidified his career for the future. I mean, look at his career now, Hall of Famer, man, one of the all-time greats, one of the greatest heels of all time too, man. Edge used to really get under my skin when I was a kid. He used to make my blood boil. I really did not like Edge when I was a kid. But this cash-in, bro, like I said, it had everything for it for me, man. So it's definitely in the elite category. Next, we have Rob Van Dam, the first person to announce their Money in the Bank cash-in ahead of time, which I completely understand why they did it. It made a lot of sense. I'll put this in the good category. I thought it was a pretty good, solid Money in the Bank cash-in. Them announcing the Money in the Bank cash-in ahead of time for this one made a lot of sense. ECW was coming back sort of as a brand, and Rob Van Dam is Mr. ECW. John Cena is the face of the company at the time, the champion. So you have to make a huge, big main event for ECW One Night Stand, and what better way to do that with Rob Van Dam facing John Cena for the WWE Championship, announcing it ahead of time. That way ticket sales can go up, pay-per-view buys can go up too. It was a smart business move on WWE's end, and the cash-in was good. It was solid. That ECW crowd was the ECW crowd was on fire that night, man. Those ECW crowds can be ruthless. They can be passionate, man. Those crowds are no joke, man. And the match was good too. Cena versus RVD was a good match, but the cash-in I thought was a good cash-in. It made a lot of sense for what it was, so I'll put it in the good category. Next cash-in, we have Edge's second Money in the Bank cash-in, and this also is an elite Money in the Bank cash-in, bro. Edge with these cash-ins really used to piss me off, bro. Not only does he cash in on my favorite WWE superstar of all time, John Cena, but his second Money in the Bank cash-in, he cashes in on my second favorite WWE superstar of all time, The Undertaker, bro. Edge was just, I felt like he was torturing me purposely as a kid. He was purposely trying to make me as mad as I could possibly be, man. So, Undertaker and Batista have a great steel cage match, ends in a draw. Mark Henry comes out after the match, beats up The Undertaker, and originally the cash-in was supposed to be for Mr. Kennedy because he was Mr. Money in the Bank. He won it at WrestleMania 23, but obviously he lost that opportunity. Edge was now Mr. Money in the Bank, and he comes out and cashes in on The Undertaker. It was like deja vu all over again in my mind. Bro, this is a repeat of what happened to John Cena, and now I'm seeing it happen to The Undertaker, bro. And I gotta give credit where credit's due, man. Edge was a phenomenal heel, bro. He did his job perfectly because I hated his ass so much when I was a kid. So his second Money in the Bank cash-in was by far elite to me, 100%. So I gotta put it in the elite category. Next Money in the Bank cash-in, we have CM Punk's first Money in the Bank cash-in. This was a good Money in the Bank cash-in. I definitely didn't see this one coming either. When he came out and cashed in on Edge after Batista beat Edge down in the middle of the ring. It was cool. It just, he got a big standing ovation, but people really weren't I don't know. I feel like a lot of people really weren't feeling his world title run at that time because CM Punk wasn't, over as he would end up being later throughout his career. And I just feel like the cash-in was, like, it was good for what it was, but it wasn't, like, I don't know, it wasn't anything spectacular for me. It didn't hit, like, the other Money in the Bank cash-ins I have up here so far. So I think it was a good Money in the Bank cash-in. Like I said, he got a great reaction. It was shocking, you know what I'm saying? Like, people didn't see it coming. And it was a cool moment, but I don't think it's up there with, like, the top tier Money in the Bank cash-ins, if you ask me. So I'll put it in the good category. Next up, we have CM Punk's second Money in the Bank cash-in. To me, this was the better Money in the Bank cash-in that he had. This was a great Money in the Bank cash-in, if you ask me. This one had more shock value to it for me because of the circumstances. So Jeff Hardy and Edge are battling in a great ladder match. Jeff Hardy wins the world title, and Jeff Hardy was like one of the top baby faces in the company at that time, so he was super over. So fans were so happy that Jeff Hardy had won. Then CM Punk comes out and cashes in Money in the Bank on Jeff Hardy. And CM Punk was still a babyface at the time too. He wasn't a bad guy yet. He was a babyface, and he cashed in on another babyface, which you understood why he did it because that's what Money in the Bank is used for. But it's the fact that he cashed in on Jeff Hardy. People did not like that. I was different though. I actually was a fan of this cash in mainly because I liked CM Punk more than Jeff Hardy. I don't hate Jeff Hardy at all. It's just CM Punk was one of my favorites at the time in the company. And this led to a great feud between CM Punk and Jeff. Plus, it led to, straight at society character for CM Punk, which was phenomenal, if you ask me. This cash-in was the better Money in the Bank cash-in for CM Punk, if you ask me, and I think it was a great cash-in, so I'm going to put it in the great category. Next, we have Jack Swagger's Money in the Bank cash-in. This was a terrible one. No, I won't say it's terrible. I'll say it was average. I wasn't really feeling this one, heavily, but I wasn't going to put it in the terrible category, but I'll put it in the average category. I think it was an average cash-in. He didn't have the briefcase for long. He cashed it in on the SmackDown after WrestleMania 26. Like, the cash-in was shocking, too, you know what I'm saying? Like, he tried to cash in on Raw, and he was unsuccessful. Then he came to SmackDown and cashed it in on Jericho and became world champion, which was cool and everything, but I don't know. That cash-in really, I didn't really care for it as much, to be honest. I don't know. It was just, an average cash-in for me. It didn't hit. The cash-in just didn't hit for me, so I'm just going to put it in the average category. Next, we have Kane to Money in the Bank cash-in. To be honest, this was a great Money in the Bank cash-in because of the circumstances. Circumstances matter when it cashes in, if you ask me. And Kane to Money in the Bank cash-in was... Next on the tier list, we have Kane to Money in the Bank cash-in, and this was a great Money in the Bank cash-in because of the circumstances. So Kane wins Money in the Bank and cashes it in on the exact same night he won it. First person to ever do that. That was history, and that was shocking as well because he just won Money in the Bank, and literally an hour later he cashes in Money in the Bank on Rey Mysterio and becomes the world champion. And I really enjoyed Kane's world title run in 2010 too, man. I think it was a little bit underrated if you ask me. I don't feel like people really appreciate it enough or talk about it enough. I think he had a really good, solid world championship run. And the cash-in was great, if you ask me too, man. So I'm going to put it in the great category. I really think Kane's cash-in is very slept on. Next Money in the Bank cash-in we have on the tier list is The Miz's first Money in the Bank cash-in. I got to keep it real, man. This wasn't a great Money in the Bank cash-in. I for sure thought 100% The Miz was going to be the first person to ever cash in Money in the Bank and lose. Even after he won Money in the Bank, I still didn't believe he was going to become WWE champion. And when he cashed in on Randy Orton and won the title, I couldn't believe it. The Miz just didn't feel like a WWE championship material superstar at that time, man. And I just did not think he was going to become the champion tonight. I did not see it. His championship win was more shocking than the cash-in itself. Even when he came out and gave the briefcase to the ref because you knew he was going to cash in at some point, you still... I don't know, I still just didn't believe he was going to win, bro. When he won, that was the most shocking thing. I was like, I can't believe The Miz is WWE champion, bro. I just feel like his cash-in was very underappreciated, too, because of the hatred that he gets. You saw that little girl's face. I think she even won a Slammy Award for, her reaction and shit. She was pissed. She was pissed. She was not happy that The Miz became WWE champion. But that's the reaction that was supposed to happen. The Miz was a bad guy, and the fact that he cashed in Money in the Bank and actually did it and went on to main event WrestleMania and beat John Cena too, The Miz, bro, gotta give respect where respect is, man. The Miz, first ballot Hall of Fame, one of the all-time greats, and his first Money in the Bank cash-in, I feel like is very slept on too. I feel like people still don't want to give it credit for being one of the best cash-ins so I gotta put it in the great category. Next, we have Alberto Del Rio's Money in the Bank cash-in. This was terrible for me. I wasn't feeling this Money in the Bank cash-in. Number one, I felt like the cash-in was unnecessary because CM Punk and John Cena were having another match at SummerSlam that year to find out who the true WWE champion was. Because remember, CM Punk beat John Cena at Money in the Bank, and CM Punk was leaving the WWE with the championship. So they had to come up with a new WWE championship, which John Cena won, but CM Punk came back. So now we have two WWE champions. And then CM Punk beats John Cena and becomes champion again. But then the whole thing with Kevin Nash coming out, and it was just stupid to me. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't like it at all. The cash-in, I just felt like was unnecessary for that time. If Del Rio was going to cash in and become champion, that was cool. But later down the road, I'd have been cool with it. But just for that night and everything, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. So I got to put it in the terrible category. I wasn't feeling this cash-in at all. Next, we have Daniel Bryan's Money in the Bank cash-in. His cash-in was average. I'll say it was average. It wasn't anything special to me. Daniel Bryan wasn't nearly as over as he would end up being later down the road. But his cash-in on Big Show at TLC was average cash-in. So I'll put it in the average category. I don't think it was terrible just because, I didn't hate it, but it was like I didn't care for it at all either at that time. Just because Daniel Bryan wasn't as over as he was. If he would have been more over in cash-in, then it would have been way more special, but he just wasn't as over yet. He was still building himself up to be there eventually, and I just didn't really care too much about the cash-in personally, so I'll put it in the average category. Next, we have John Cena's Money in the Bank cash-in. This was absolutely 100% terrible. John Cena became the first person to cash in and lose. I'm going to say this. John Cena should have never even won Money in the Bank. John Cena's character is not meant for Money in the Bank at all. Because you knew John Cena winning, he wasn't going to do what everybody else did. He wasn't going to do what Edge did and CM Punk and The Miz and all these guys. He wasn't going to take the cheap way and cash it in and steal the opportunity and become world champion. He wasn't going to do that. His character is too much of a good guy. He's too much of a superhero to do that. So he announces his Money in the Bank cash in. The second person to ever do it for the 1,000th episode of Monday Night Raw, him versus CM Punk, which I understand why they did that too. But it's the way everything went down and ended. Big Show comes out and the match ends and the no contest and The Rock comes out, which sets up a CM Punk heel turn and sets up their angle for their match at the Royal Rumble later in 2013. But I just felt like John Cena's Money in the Bank reign was very pointless, and I really feel like John Cena's character is just not meant for Money in the Bank, and he should have never had the briefcase to begin with, if you ask me. So this cash-in was god-awful. It was terrible. Next, we have Dolph Ziggler's Money in the Bank cash-in. You already know this has to be in the elite category. I mean, his cash-in, still one of the most talked about cash-in to this day. What a freaking pop he got that night after WrestleMania 29. A lot of people, I think, expected him to cash in the night before he cashed in. A lot of people thought he was going to cash in on WrestleMania, but he didn't cash in on WrestleMania. So the night after WrestleMania, people were like really expecting that cash in. They were expecting it. The crowd was ready for it. And when that music hit and he came out that curtain, started walking down that ramp, man, that was a special moment. And Dolph Ziggler deserved everything that he got that night, man. It sucks that his World Championship run wasn't as special as it should have been, but the cash-in was spectacular. Still one of the most talked about, memorable cash-in to this day, so I gotta put it in the elite category, man. That cash-in was, like I said, it was special. Next, we have Randy Orton to Money in the Bank cash-in. This is another slept-on cash-in that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough. This is by far, if you're asking me, an elite Money in the Bank cash-in because of everything that went down. This is one of the most shocking Money in the Bank cash-ins that people don't talk about enough either, I feel like. John Cena and Daniel Bryan have an absolutely fantastic classic match at SummerSlam in the main event. Daniel Bryan beats John Cena. Daniel Bryan was getting really, really over at that time, so fans were so happy he became WWE champion. They were ready for Daniel Bryan's push. Then Randy Orton's music comes out and he hits. He holds up that briefcase, right? Kind of, just teasing that he still has that briefcase, right? And then all of a sudden, Triple H, who was the special guest referee, pedigrees Daniel Bryan in the middle of the ring. Randy Orton comes in, hands the briefcase to Triple H. He rings the bell. 1, 2, 3. They not only just screwed Daniel Bryan, but stole the WWE Championship. That right there left everybody speechless. They could not believe what just happened because Triple H wasn't a heel yet at that time. Triple H was still a babyface. And after he did that, that was the birth of the Authority. But that cash-in, screwing Daniel Bryan, was smart for business because it made Daniel Bryan even more of an underdog babyface, which led to SummerSlam all the way to WrestleMania, where he got super over, and the payoff was incredible. So Randy Orton's Money in the Bank cash-in was by far elite, if you ask me. Next, we have Damian Sandow's Money in the Bank cash-in. This really hurt me, man. His cash-in was terrible. I really thought he was going to cash in and become world champion. I thought he had potential to be a world champion, man. I was really into his character, his promos, his matches were solid too. I really think they missed out not making him world champion, man. He cashes in and loses, became the second person to ever lose, but he cashes in on John Cena after John Cena just came back and became world champion, and he beats down John Cena in the middle of the ring. And then somehow, after he cashes in on John Cena, it turns into a real match after he just beat the hell out of John Cena. And then he lost. Super Cena had to rise to the occasion again. He lost, and I was like, man, I like John Cena, but come on, bro. Damian Sandow was supposed to win, bro. He's supposed to be the world champion, man. WWE really missed out on that, man. I'll stand by that. So his cash-in was terrible. I was not feeling that. Next, we have Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank cash-in, which by far is elite. This cash-in, in many people's eyes, is the greatest cash-in of all time. The first and only person to cash in at WrestleMania so far, man. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar were having a damn good match at that WrestleMania, and Roman Reigns wasn't on the level that he is right now. He didn't feel like a main eventer yet to me. He didn't even feel like he deserved to be in that spot yet against somebody like Brock in a big main event at a WrestleMania. And Brock had been champion since SummerSlam, and a lot of people were feeling like he was going to lose the championship at some point, but people didn't really think Roman Reigns was ready to be WWE champion yet, so people didn't know how the finish was going to turn out. But Seth Rollins coming out and cashing in, brilliant idea, smart booking, and it was a great way to end that WrestleMania, and it was a fantastic cash-in, man. Like I said, a lot of people consider that to be the greatest Money in the Bank cash-in of all time, so it's definitely top tier, and it's definitely got to be in the elite category. So next up, we have Sheamus' Money in the Bank cash-in. This wasn't an average cash-in. It was kind of expected, if you ask me. So Roman Reigns wins his first WWE Championship at Survivor Series that year, and I just felt like Sheamus was going to come out and cash in. I was just expecting it, man. It was just so expected. And Triple H came out. Once he came out, I knew it was going to happen. His cash-in was, like I said, it was average at best. I don't know. Me personally, I just saw it coming. I was just expecting him to cash in that night. So his cash-in was average at best, if you ask me. Next, we have Dean Ambrose's Money in the Bank cash-in. I'm going to say this was a good cash-in for me. I was very happy that Dean Ambrose became WWE Champion this night because he kind of felt like the Outcast once the Shield split up, man. Seth Rollins got his great push as WWE Champion. Roman Reigns obviously was getting pushed heavily to be the next face of the company, and Dean Ambrose just kind of felt left out, man. He felt like he wasn't... It felt like they didn't value him like they did the other two, to me. So him getting this moment was really cool. Him winning Money in the Bank and then cash in the exact same night was really cool. But the cash in just didn't hit for me like anything special. But I think it was a good solid cash in, so I'll put it in the good category. Next, we have Baron Corbin's Money in the Bank cash in. Come on. That shit was terrible too. Him cashing in and losing wasn't the only issue that I had, because I thought he was going to cash in and become champion too, but I just don't understand how they didn't pull the trigger with him either, because a lot of people were really iffy about Baron Corbin, but I felt like he was ready for that spot to be world champion, and I thought the company was really high on him at that time, but he cashes in and then loses. I don't know. I didn't understand it. I didn't like it. I felt like his cash in should have been successful. If it was successful, it would have been better to me, but the fact that he cashed in and lost, I gotta put it in the terrible category. Next up, we have Carmella's Money in the Bank cash-in. I'll put this in the great category. She held that briefcase longer than anybody. She has the record for it. You already know I'm a big Carmella fan. I really think she has true talent. I've been said that many times in videos on my TikTok. I think she has true talent. I think she has something to offer to the women's division, whether it be on Raw, whether it be on NXT or SmackDown. I really feel like she could be a superstar in the women's division if they really pushed her and gave her that platform. But her Money in the Bank cash-in was great. She got a great ovation. She had a great moment. Successful cash-in. Much needed too, because the anticipation was starting to build up for her cash-in too, because she had that briefcase for so long. So when she cashed in on Charlotte and got that reaction, it was a cool moment. I felt like her championship run could have been better than what it was, But the cash-in overall, I think, was great. Still, to me, the best women's Money in the Bank cash-in yet by far. So I'll put it in the great category. Next, we have Braun Strowman's Money in the Bank cash-in. This is in the terrible category. This Money in the Bank cash-in right here, it upsets me more than any Money in the Bank cash-in in history. Braun Strowman had the potential to go down as one of the greatest big men in WWE history. I'll repeat that. Braun Strowman had the potential to go down as one of the greatest big men in WWE history, period. You can't convince me otherwise. He had all the tools to have that accolade. He had the strength, he had the size, he had the athleticism, and he had the believability. He was really over. 2017, 2018, Braun Strowman was so over. First off, he should have beat Brock Lesnar at No Mercy in 2017. That was strike one. But he still had some steam, and he still remained over after that loss. This Money in the Bank right here could have made up for that loss right there. But what do? They had him announce his Money in the Bank cash-in ahead of time. That was a red flag to me right there. I didn't like that. I didn't like that they had him announce his Money in the Bank cash-in ahead of time. I felt like he should have just did what everybody else does. CM Punk, Edge, all these other guys, they don't announce their Money in the Bank cash-ins because they don't have to. Those are the best Money in the Bank cash-ins, the ones that are unannounced. And Braun Strowman didn't have to announce his Money in the Bank cash-in ahead of time. He could have just did what Edge did, what CM Punk did. Steal the opportunity and become world champion. That's what Money in the Bank's known for. But they had him announce the Money in the Bank cash-in, and he faces Roman Reigns inside Hell in a Cell. And it would have been fun if he beat Roman in the Hell in a Cell, but they had Brock come back and beat up both Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns inside the cell, and had the cell end in a no contest. A Hell in a Cell has no freaking rules. How does it end in a no contest? His Money in the Bank reign was pointless. It was meaningless. You basically gave him the briefcase for no reason because he didn't even successfully cash it in, and then you had him announce his Money in the Bank cash-in, and his cash-in got ruined by Brock. Woo! Man, WWE creative, bro. Oh, man. Let's move on, bro. It's in the terrible category. Next up, we got Bayley's Money in the Bank cash-in. This was another average cash-in, I'll say. She did exactly what Alexa Bliss did the year prior. She cashed in on the exact same night. And I love Bayley. Bayley's one of my all-time favorite women's wrestlers, man. She's in my top 5 personal favorite women's wrestlers of all time, actually. That's how much I love Bayley, man. I always thought Bayley was special. But her cash-in was, it was average at best. I was happy she won. I was happy that, she successfully cashed in. But the overall cash-in was it was average at best. Next, we have Brock Lesnar's Money in the Bank cash-in. I'm sorry, but I gotta put Brock's in the terrible category, bro. They really did us dirty with this cash-in, bro. I understand Brock Lesnar's box office, he's an attraction, but they literally had this man come out during the match, push Mustafa Ali off the ladder, and climb up to the ladder and grab that briefcase when he wasn't even in the match to begin with. Like, yo! WWE creative, bro. Like, what are y'all on, man? I just wasn't feeling that cash-in, man. I wasn't feeling it. I like Brock Lesnar, but that cash-in, I wasn't feeling that cash-in at all, man. So I gotta put it in the terrible category. Next up, we have Asuka's Money in the Bank cash-in. I'll say this one was average. Hear me out. I know a lot of people didn't really like this one, but it wasn't too bad for me. She technically didn't even cash in Money in the Bank, so she won the Money in the Bank ladder match, but the next night, Becky Lynch came out and told everybody she was going to be a mom and that she was pregnant and that she would no longer be the Raw Women's Champion. Asuka comes out, and we later find out that she not only won the Money in the Bank, but she won the Raw Women's Championship because the title was inside the briefcase. And it was a cool concept. A lot of people felt like, the booking decision could have been a lot better. Maybe they could have did like a tournament or something to crown a new champion, and Asuka could have used the briefcase, later down the road to cash it in. But I don't know, it was different. It wasn't, terrible at all, if you ask me. So I'll say it was average. I'll say it's average. Some people are going to disagree, but I didn't think it was terrible like that. Okay, last one for this tier list is The Miz's second Money in the Bank cash-in. This was a good Money in the Bank cash-in, I really thought, man. I just wish that this version of The Miz was this version of The Miz when he cashed it in the first time, because the second version of The Miz was more than ready to become WWE Champion, and I really feel like this version of The Miz now, back in 2010, cashing that Money in the Bank, he would have been ready for it then, and I just felt like he wasn't ready for it back in 2010. His 2010 cash-in was better than the one in 2021, but I just feel like there's two different people, man. Like, 2010 Miz just didn't feel like a true main eventer yet. 2021 Miz though, like long overdue. Like people were saying that he should have been WWE champion again, you know, back in 2016 and 2017 when he elevated the Intercontinental Championship. So this cash in was a good cash in, I feel like. So I'll put it in the good category. And the Miz deserved that moment again too. Let's take a look at where I have everything ranked one last time. So in the elite category, we have both of Edge's Money in the Bank cash-ins. We have Dolph Ziggler's Money in the Bank cash-in. We have Randy Orton's Money in the Bank cash-in. And we have Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank cash-in. These cash-ins by far are elite, man. Not only do they have shock value to it, but they all brought out emotion in people, man. They made you feel mad, they made you feel happy, whatever. Like, all these cash-ins were just elite, if you ask me, man. They all hit, and they're all so memorable to this day. People still talk about these cash-ins, I feel like, so I got them in the elite category. Next, in the great category, we have CM Punk's second Money in the Bank cash-in, Kane's Money in the Bank cash-in, The Miz's first Money in the Bank cash-in, and Carmella's cash-in. These were all great, man. These were all great cash-ins, if you ask me. The only one I would consider putting in the elite category would honestly be... Next, in the great category, we have CM Punk's second Money in the Bank cash-in, Kane's Money in the Bank cash-in, The Miz's Money in the Bank cash-in, and Carmella's Money in the Bank cash-in. These were all great cash-ins to me too, man. I really enjoyed these cash-ins a lot. Still memorable too. I feel like a lot of people still remember these cash-ins very well as well, so I got these all in the great category. In the good category, we have RVD's Money in the Bank cash-in, CM Punk's first Money in the Bank cash-in, Dean Ambrose's cash-in, and The Miz's second Money in the Bank cash-in. These were all good, solid ones to me, man. I don't think any of these are up there with, you know, the ones I have higher than them personally. If anybody else puts them higher, I can respect that, you know. But for me personally, these were all just good, solid cash-in, so I got them in the good category. The average category, we have Jack Swagger's Money in the Bank cash-in, Daniel Bryan's Money in the Bank cash-in, Sheamus' Money in the Bank cash-in, Alexa Bliss's Money in the Bank cash-in, Bayley's Money in the Bank cash-in, and Asuka's Money in the Bank cash-in. These were all just, I don't know, like, they weren't anything special to me, but they weren't like anything awful to me either, so I have them in the average category right there. Last category, we have the terrible category. We have Alberto Del Rio's cash-in, we have John Cena's cash-in, Damien Sandow's cash-in, Baron Corbin's cash-in, Braun Strowman's cash-in, and Brock Lesnar's cash-in. All these sucked to me personally. I just didn't like any of these cash-ins. They all could have been done better if you ask me personally when it came to booking decisions. So for me, I got these in the terrible category. Alright, Narcolepsy Click, this concludes this tier list, man. Always feel free to interact and leave your comments in the comment section below about any tier list you want me to do in the future. I promise you I'm going to be more consistent on the YouTube channel with you guys, whether it be tier lists or podcasts or reaction videos or just anything. Make sure you subscribe to all my social medias, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, NarcolepsyBoy94. Much love, much appreciated for you guys. I got some things I'm working on for the future for you guys as well, so stay tuned for that. Narcolepsy Click, all day, every day for life. Much love, man. Y'all be safe.